All right, today we're going to be going over the muscle up. The CrossFit Open is 1 month away, almost exactly, and inevitably there's going to be muscle ups in one of the workouts. So if you would like to, try to get your first muscle up or get better at muscle ups in the time remaining until the Open starts, I've kind of broken it down into 4 different segments that you can work on and then kind of group back up together at the end and really kind of transform your muscle up game. So my muscle up breakdown: 1, we've got the violent kip; 2, toe hips; 3, rollovers; and 4, kip the dip. All right, and I'll show you how each of these is going to look, and then I'll show you how we're going to put them all together. So if you come over here, on the violent kip, we're going to be doing these on the high rings. When you're kipping, you want to really make sure that you are, mobile through the shoulders, yet stable as well if you've got extreme mobility. You want to be able to kip through the shoulder and not so much just the lower back. And you're really looking to try and accelerate through the bottom of the kip, right? Getting a whole bunch of speed as you're coming down through the bottom of the arc, so much that our body almost gets horizontal, right, without pulling. Okay, so violent kip, I'll give you a couple of examples. From here, okay, as you can see, my toes are almost getting up above my head. If I can get that violent kip, then that turnover is going to be much easier, but I'll get to that in a little bit. Toe hips. Now, the toe hips, the rollovers, and of course the dipping is going to be done on a set of low rings like we've got all around the gym. You'll use a band, probably a green band here, just tied around one side. You're going to just do kind of a low hanging loop. So we're going to have 2 types of loops. This is the first one, the low hanging loop, okay? And as you guessed it, you're going to sit down into it. Now, you're going to establish a false grip. If you've never done a muscle up before, chances are you're going to do your first one with a false grip, okay? So before I sit down into it, let's make sure we get our grip right. So we want to have this point of the wrist, that bony protrusion there, sitting right on the ring. It doesn't feel great, but that's how it is. Then we're going to choke up on the ring, right? This is choking up here, all right? So establishing a false grip, keeping our hands in through all these movements is what we want. So fists together, elbows tucked in, right? Now, toe hips. I'm just going to sit into it. I'm going to kind of establish that false grip here. And then I'm going to then just start to raise the toes. Okay? So it goes toes, then I'm going to go toe, and then pop the hips, or put my hips into extension. Toe, hips. And I can get even more violent with it and try to get my hips all the way to the rings. Toe, hips, toe, hips, toe, hips, toe, hips. Okay? So when those hips pop, I want my body to be almost kind of in like a Superman type arc. When we do the Superman on the ground, I want my hips to be up, I want my feet to be down, but everything is nice and tight and extended. So from the toe hip, then we're going to get into our transfer or the rollover. So it's important to note that when you're rolling over, you're going to have that false grip. We're going to turn our hands in, fists facing each other. And then when our rollover happens, we've got to make sure we're tucked in with the elbows. And as we're sitting up over, we're tracing the outline of our chest and sitting up through. Okay? If you're not tight, you're going to get into the chicken wing and you're not going to be able to get over. So nice and tight, elbows in, rolling all the way through. Okay? So I'm going to establish the second loop, which is much, much smaller. Really just enough space for my hips to sit in there, even less because that band's going to stretch just a bit, because I want to get my hips as close as I can get them to the rings. So I'm right there. I'm going to make sure I get my false grip and my close fists together. And what I'm going to do is tuck the hips, or tuck the, sorry, let me fix this. I'm going to tuck my ankles and heels into my butt, which is going to kind of give me some velocity to roll over the top. So one more time. I'm here, tuck, roll, and I'm ending facing the ground, heels up towards my butt, okay? When you're starting this movement, push your hips open, squeeze your butt, get your toes pointed down to the ground, and roll there. So the start is the ending position of the toe hip, and as we roll, we initiate with the ankles, and we roll up over. Okay, that's the rollover. Now, lastly, the kip the dip. If you're not very strong on your dips, especially if you're in the middle of a workout and you might be a little fatigued, say you do get that rollover and you're like, oh crap, now I've got to dip up. Something I call kip the dip, meaning use your knees to kind of help you up into that kip. It's kind of like a reverse handstand push-up. So we're here, say we just caught the bottom of the muscle up in that deep ring dip position, then it's just going to be a pop with the knees into a press out, keeping those rings in close to the pockets there. So again, we're here, knees, press. So once you've got all those 4 down, and we recommend doing 3 sets of each of them, so 10 reps of each, 3 times, at least 2 to 3 times a week. And when you're doing this, don't just try to do muscle-ups while you're doing them. Just respect the process. Do 2 to 3 sets of these per week, and we'll do them all the way up until, maybe the week before the open, and then we'll try to test that muscle up. So once you're done with the 4, we're going to combine these 2, violent kip and toe hips. And then we're going to combine the rollover and kip the dip, and then we'll combine it all into a muscle-up. So a violent kip and a toe hip is going to look like this. You'll see me get up. My body's going to be horizontal. Then I'm going to do that toe hip feature. All right? Getting my hips into the rings as best I can. Okay? And you see my hips get way up there, so then I can utilize that rollover and come right over the rings. Secondly, using the rollover, doing the rollover with the kip the dip. I'm here. Small loop. Up. Kip the dip. Coming up. So if I practice that transition as well, I can put everything together, and a final muscle up is going to look like this. Try to see every little element as it's unfolding into a real muscle up. One more. And that's it. Remember, 2 to 3 times a week. 3 sets, 10 reps. Don't try muscle-ups while you're doing it for the next few weeks. Just work on the components, and then we'll try them out as we get closer to the open. See you in class.